Well, the COVID-19 security measures are having a big effect on the French business community. And to talk a bit more about that, let's bring in our business editor, Stephen Carroll, who's at an annual meeting of French executives, the MEDEF. Stephen, what were the business leaders interested in most in what Castex had to say today?
Well, this was a press conference mainly targeting about public health measures, but those are public health measures that do have an impact on business. And on the issue of masks, there is a particular area of interest for business leaders, and that's the rules coming into force from next Tuesday that people will have to wear masks in workplaces all over France. Jean Castex was here speaking to the MEDEF Business Organisations Conference yesterday. The head of MEDEF had in fact called on for there to be flexibility in those rules for workplaces, and that's something that's currently being consulted on by France's Public Health Committee. They're due to report by Friday, and the Prime Minister said that for the moment the rule will remain. Everybody at work in a place that's shared with people will have to wear masks, so only those who work in individual offices will be accepted, but will have an exception to the rule. But he said that if the Health Committee does come up with suggestions as to how to make that rule more flexible, they'll take that into account. This is something that business leaders are really worried about, is how they're going to make sure that they're able to implement that and maintain the rule around masks in workplaces. Of course, the variety of workplaces that you can imagine is covered by that. Think about, mechanics or people working in industrial areas as well. There can be a lot of difficulty for several areas of the economy to implement that rule. So it's one of the things that business leaders are going to be paying a lot of attention to. The focus here is really on what the French government is going to do for the economy. They're due to announce their €100 billion plan to relaunch the economy next week.
You're there at the conference of MEDEF, the French business leaders meeting, and the French finance minister, Bruno Le Maire, spoke there not long after the French prime minister gave his comments. What did the French finance minister have to say?
So he was very much focused on the economic aspects of this crisis, and he made a big pledge, and that's that France's economy should recover, should have erased the effects of these crises in 2 years. That was what Bruno Le Maire was here to tell entrepreneurs gathered at MEDEF's conference. That, of course, being helped by parts of this economic recovery plan. Let's take a listen to what Bruno Le Maire had to say, speaking just after he addressed business leaders here.
Je veux dire aux Français que nous allons nous en
I want to tell the French people that we're going to get through this crisis. We have a strong economy with good, solid foundations. We have competent, hard-working, motivated workers, and our industries are rebuilding themselves. We have exceptional services and a French administrative state that was present and able to provide guarantees to kick-start the economy. We have all the elements for success, and don't forget that before the crisis, at the beginning of the year, we had one of the most thriving economies in Europe.
Nous étions une des économies qui réussissait le mieux en Europe.
So Bruno Le Maire there talking about what he's hoping the recovery for the French economy will look like. The details of that plan, we've been getting them sort of in dribs and drabs from members of the French government. Jean Castex, the Prime Minister, speaking here yesterday, and Bruno Le Maire today. We know that there'll be money to help companies transition their production methods into more environmentally friendly methods. We know there's going to be a special grant as well announced by the Finance Minister today for small businesses to help their digital transition, because we know digitalisation has been a really big issue for businesses as well. The full details still to come next week, but the government very keen that business has the tools that it's needed to be able to recover from this crisis. The general mood here at MEDEF, reasonably optimistic in most cases. Of course, there are some industries that are extremely hard hit. Most entrepreneurs that I've been speaking to have sort of characterised things as coming back to a level that they can cope with after a disastrous first half of the year. They're expecting 2020 to be a very tough year, but they are somewhat hopeful of a recovery. The question is when that recovery might come.
Stephen, thank you. France 24's business editor, Stephen Carroll.